Alright, welcome everyone to an exciting game today over in Detroit, Michigan, where the Pittsburgh Steel City Selects play against the Detroit Honeybake. Should be starting the game here shortly. It's 9:21. We're having a 2-minute countdown for warm-ups. Well, that's the buzzer for the warm-ups. That'll be over. And as the selects are gathering the pucks and a little pep talk before the game, we'll get this thing underway.
All right.
You're gonna fall over. All the screws came out.
Yeah.
Charlotte make a figure eight.
Keep those legs loose.
Teams up here would be pretty decent. Really?
Yeah. All right, here we go. Out on the ice is O'Connor, Hinton, and Schuley with Beatty and Schultz as defenders. Selects win the face-off. Hinton dumps it down the zone into Detroit's end. O'Connor passes it to Schuley. Schuley just gets tripped up, and the play gets turned over. Coming down is Detroit into the Select's zone. Down in the corner, cut off by Schultz. Still battling in the corner. Throws it in front, deflected behind the net. Detroit having possession of the puck, tries to get it in front, broken up by Beatty. Beatty has room, passes out to O'Connor. O'Connor tries to kick it up, but Hinton takes it from beyond the red line, dumps it in, changes to the bench, picked up by Shuley down in the corner, has two defenders on her, battling in the corner. And O'Connor comes in and pitches out, does throw her stick, takes a shot, right to a Warner. Warner shot, glove hand saved by the goalie with a quick release by Warner. Both lines are changing. Warner stays on. Hempel and Wiley are on the forefront with Garretson and I believe Barber. Puck won by Selects. Warner has the puck on their backhand, tries to bring it through. Battle still loose. Ref hasn't called anything. Bodies all over the place. And the ref finally stops the play at 13:53 in the first period. Still 0-0. All right, and Warner wins the face-off to Barber. Barber shot just wide of the goaltender. Detroit picks it up, brings it up to center, picked up by Barber. Barber off to the boards to Wiley. Wiley bounces off her stick. Warner taps it forward to Hempel. Hempel banks it off the boards and chases after her own puck. Detroit picks it up behind the net, tries to swing it around, met up by Warner. Warner dumps it right back behind the net. Hempel battling strong, breaks free, comes loose with the puck, tries to drop it, trips, no call there. Detroit swings it on the other side. Garretson pitches in, up off her backhand, and back behind the net. Still battling. Hempel throws a body, comes free to Wiley. Wiley dumps it back into the corner. Hempel down there, bumped with the defender. Warner decides to pick it up on her backhand. Two defenders on her, battling along the boards. Up comes in the other Selects player, still kept in nicely by Selects. Bounces to the stick of Warner. Warner, forehand shot, just wide. Goes behind the net, still battling. Switch here. Here comes Soltrick, comes in and saves the day to keep the puck in, but it bounces to a Detroit player, and they quickly get it out of the zone so that they can change. Garrison has the puck, trying to control it. Does. Has some open space. Selects make the change as well. Passes it to the sideboards of Soltrick. Soltrick tries to get it out, but bounces back into the Select zone as she chases for it. Throws it in front of the net. Careful there. Picked up by a Detroit player, and Soltrick has it behind the net. Gets it up off the boards to Moss. Still battling. Deflect off of Oakbig stick and into the glove of the goaltender today is Coulter, starting for the Selects, and makes a first save, I believe, for the game right now. Hinton taking the face off with Moss, Schultz, Opic. And still battling, won by Selects. Opic takes it, swings it on the other side to Sheldon. Sheldon tries to get it up off the boards, just fans on it. Comes to Opic, pushes it open to space, open ice. Slips and falls, right to Soltrick. Soltrick, rink-wide pass to Sheldon. Sheldon taps it, moves it forward into Detroit zone. Detroit carries it all the way down. So Sheldon gets her own pass back and working free to Detroit. Struggling to get it out, barely does, over the blue line, up the center, and into the Select zone. Opic chasing after it on the boards, keeps it along the boards. 2-on-1 breaking out here, but Select still battling, breaks free to Sheldon. Sheldon passes it up to Moss. Moss has 4 players around her, and the Selects are coming into the zone as she dumps it in and looks for a breather. And Warner has the puck, moves it to her backhand, makes one move, and Detroit takes it off of her, and here comes Detroit facing Schultz. Schultz does a nice job keeping her on the outside, poke checks it, still loose. A little collision there on the boards, no call. Detroit, careful, has it behind the net, throws it in front, right back to the point, and picked up by O'Connor. Tries to carry it through, but hits the ref. Warner has it now. Looks to try to get it out, and does. Picks up by Shuley. Shuley looks to take a whack at it. gets broken up by a Detroit player, and they start moving down, and they take it back, and they dump it into the selects. Schultz has it, looks it to O'Connor, tips it forward. Will this be icing? They call no icing. Schultz chases after the puck, and just beyond the reach of Schultz, and this is going to come all the way back down. No icing here. Detroit player gets to it, shoots it on net just wide. Schultz picks up the loose puck, has O'Connor to the right of her. She has some steam. There's some room here. Taking the puck just beyond her reach. Drop passes it. Picked up by Schultz. Schultz couldn't handle it. Goes behind the net to O'Connor. O'Connor looking backhand. Passes it in front. Broken up by Detroit. Still loose. Still battling for it. Schultz picks it up at the point. Shot off the skate. Still loose. Still battling. Cross check from behind. No call. And down to the boards. Detroit sends it into select zone. Chasing after it with speed. Comes right to a Detroit player. Careful. As they push it into open space. Try to shoot it on net. Battle behind Coulter. And Detroit wins it. Up to the point. Shoots it. Careful deflect. Pad save by Coulter. Warner has it. Looks to softly cap it up off the boards to Hempel. Hempel carries it, controls it beyond the red line, dumps it in. And Wiley coming in front. And the Detroit player got to it first. Warner still battling along the boards. Garrison comes out to help as defender. Barber has it, takes it, shoots it beyond the red line, dump into Detroit zone. Still kept in by Barber, nicely throws it in front just wide. Wiley takes it, throws it in front, and Hempel bounces off of a select player, right back to Wiley, still loose. And Detroit tries to get it out, but it bounces right back into his zone. And right, Detroit takes it, gets it in the select zone. Garrison puts a body on her. Detroit come up with it. Switch it to the other side of the corner. 7:51 left of the first period. It's still 0-0. Detroit trying to handle it. Barber picks it up, but not out. And right to the stick of Hinton. Hinton bounces. Oh, deflection. And that looked to be a cross-checking call, but no call. Hempel seems a little shaken up. Goes to the bench. And bounces off of Warner's stick in the center. Still has control of it. Has three defenders in front of her. Another one is Sheldon on the left side. Just missed wide. Sheldon dumps it back behind the boards. Warner does a great job positioning her body to get to the puck. Hits off her stick. Up in her pads, drops down to her stick. And goes right to a Detroit player as they try to take it. Bounces right to a Moss's stick. She has a chance to shoot it. Just wide. Detroit was changing lines there. And kept in nicely by Opik. Opik shot on goal, and the goalie will stop that play with 6:48 in the first period. Still 0-0. Very evenly matched game. Both teams, I think, have been battling and in the corners and keeping possession of the puck. Detroit seems to be struggling a little bit, getting it out of their zone, so hopefully Selects can capitalize on those loose pucks. Out on the ice is Hinton taking the face-off with Schultz and O'Connor. Detroit tries to get it out, kept in by Schultz. Puck up in the air, who's going to get it? Hinton takes it, whips it around the boards. Schultz chasing after it. Has three defenders on her, battling. And comes up with it is Hinton. Hinton making moves. Looks to hit it off the boards. Up to Beatty. Beatty hits it up off the glass. Down to Hinton. Couldn't control it. Comes right back to Hinton. And to a Detroit player. And out the center it comes with O'Connor picking up with it. Backhands it to Beatty. Beatty sees some room. Has some speed. She has a chance. Just offside. I'm not sure who that might have been, but there was discussion there on how to set that up for next time, as Shul was explaining to Beatty where to look at. 6:10 in the first period, still 0-0. Schultz, Beatty, Warner taking the face-off with Hempel. and Wiley on the right side. Battle along the boards. Detroit takes it, but not out. Hempel dumps it in. Warner chasing after it. And shot in by Hempel just behind the net. Wiley picks it up, throws it in front, right off the pads of the goaltender behind the net as Warner. Warner still having it, looking at Beatty. Beatty picks it up at the point, dumps it to space to Wiley. Wiley backhands it over on the other side. Hempel's there to pick it up. Hempel overskates it. Warner tries to battle it, still does, has it, backhands it to Schultz. Schultz shot, deflect, back out to the point, and up to a Detroit player as they bring it up to center ice. And deflect off of Beatty's stick and right to the goaltender. A little love tap there by the Detroit player to the Coulter's glove. And Coulter covers that up with 5:22 in the first period, still 0-0. Face-off will be to the left of Coulter. Hinton looking to take the face-off with Schultz, Barber, and Sheldon. Hinton wins the face-off, drops it back behind to Soltrick. Soltrick battling with two forwards on her, gets it loose. Squirts free and throws it up to center ice, deflected off the skate of Detroit player. And they look to bump it in, picked up by Opick. Right to Hinton, lines a changer for Detroit. Hits the glove of the Detroit player. And Opick comes in and forcefully pushes that into Detroit zone. Sheldon has it into the select zone, backhands it. Jumps right to a Detroit player, careful here. Tries to get it off nicely by Opick, tying her up from preventing him to get that shot off. Detroit has it up to the point, kept it in. And Opick battling along the boards. Soltrick comes free, works it off to the forehand, but not out. And Detroit swings it all the way on the other side. Met up by Opick with the forward on her. Sheldon has it, banks it off the boards. And up to Moss, bouncing puck. Detroit resets. Schuley's on. Schultz tries to handle it. Just gets beyond her reach. Detroit comes in. Backhand shot. Just carries it all the way through and just missed a wide open net on the backhand. Thankfully, it slipped off her stick. Now here comes Schuley with Moss. 2-on-2. She takes it, dumps it in, chases off the puck. Moss switches out. Warner on. Warner bouncing puck in the corner, breaks free with Detroit. They look to come up. And Detroit comes in, takes a shot. Glove hand save by Coulter. Stopping the play at 3:34 in the first period. A little bit of a back and forth match. The Detroit player just missed a backhand shot to Coulter. Thankfully it went wide and Warner's there to take the face-off. Won by Warner, breaks free to Schuley. She hurries up. She can have a 2-on-1. Takes the shot high above the glove. As you can hear, hit the glass. And met up by a Detroit player. Comes right to Schuley's stick. Still battling. Warner goes down. Comes right to her stick. She picks it up again. Still loose. Who's going to get it? Squirting free. Nobody wants it at this moment. And coming right out the center. Barber chasing after it with the forward on her. Barber hold it. Goes behind the net. Detroit has it. Hits it up to the point. Point misses it. And Schuley's looking to chase after it. If she can beat out two defenders, the goaltender sets it up. Schuley puts a nice body into that, causes a turnover. O'Connor battling in the corner, tries to handle it, throws it in front, broken up by a Detroit defender. Still battling along the boards is Hinton. Squirts free. Works its way to the other side. Picked up by O'Connor at the point. Schuley breaks free. Has two defenders on her. Calling for it is O'Connor. Has the backhand to Schultz. To Hinton. Hinton to Schuley. And bounces off of Schuley's stick there. Beatty loses her stick. And thankfully it works its way through to Schultz where she has time. And lines are changing. It goes all the way on the other side. O'Connor didn't see it coming and brings the play all the way back down to select zone. 2:02 in the first period, still 0-0. Face-off will be to the left of Coulter. Hinton looking to take the face-off with Temple and Wiley. Schultz and Beatty out on the ice. Hinton gets it on her backhand, but pushes back down and behind the net of the select zone. Schultz looking behind her. Squirts free. Loose puck. Wiley picks it up. Hits it up to Hempel. Hempel takes it. Pushes it nicely and softly up to the Detroit zone, but it was just behind the red line when she shot it, so that's going to be icing, and that'll bring it all the way back to the select's end. Face-off will be to the right of Coulter. Warner taking the face-off with Beatty. Hempel. Shot on goal. Stick save by Coulter. Shot again. Coulter finds it through all that mess and stops it with 1:33 in the third period. That was a good eye. I don't know how she saw that puck come through there, but she was able to catch it and stop it. Warner wins the puck, goes to a Detroit player behind Coulter. Schultz tying up one. Warner does a nice job back checking, comes in free. She has two forwards up for her. The defender right behind her as she falls down. The defender, that is. Warner picks up her glove. And right back goes just beyond her. Detroit is changing. Select has some time here as all their members are in their zone. Schultz, break wide pass, just misses a Detroit player. And now it's in their zone. And they push it back up the center and pushes it all the way to the select zone. 48 seconds left of the first period, 0-0. Wiley has it, tries to push it up to Hempel. Hempel chasing after it as a Detroit player overskates it. Hempel goes hard into the board. A bump by the Detroit player, but not enough for a call. Schultz has it. Moss has it with 29 seconds. Shot, deflect behind the net. Hempel takes a cross check from behind in front of the net. No call. Meets Mott's stick at the point and just beyond her reach, and it bounces back to center again. And fighting for it comes up with Detroit. Detroit sends it on the other side. 12 seconds left. Careful here. Don't want anything late to come. Any shots to come in late. Shot. And Sheldon has it with Moss. Tries to pass it. And that's going to end the period. And that's going to be the end of the first period. 0-0. It's been a nice, evenly matched game. I want to say the advantage was probably the selects with some opportunities in front. There have been... how are you?
I'm good, how are you? Hi, guys.
As the selects players have had multiple chances in front of the net, as well a few chances from Detroit. Thankfully, they went wide. Coulter playing a great game. Start there. She hasn't had many shots on her lately. I would say anything is probably under 10. So that means the select players have been doing a good job back checking and defending and keeping the puck to the outside. On the other hand, Detroit seems to be struggling a little bit behind the net as they have trouble getting it out. So hopefully the selects can turn that over and put one behind the net to get them up on the board.
Yeah, you get 100% like all crushing out right now. But thank you. You're the best. I love it.
Here we are for the second period. Out on the ice is Sheldon. Moss at the front line, the forwards. We got here. Gonna redo the face-off again. As I was saying, on the ice is Soltrick, Shelton, and Moss, along with Beatty and Schultz, starting the second period. And Soltrick takes the face-off, pushes it into Detroit, battle along the board. Soltrick opens it wide to Moss, breaks free. Sheldon tries it, still in, right. It went just beyond, apparently, the blue line as Sheldon touched it and it was offside.
Yes, my best friend.
Soltrick taking the face off. Detroit comes up with it, dumps it into select zone. Beatty chasing after it. Goes behind the net with two forwards on her. Comes right to the stick of Sheldon. Sheldon tries to get it out right to Coulter's pad and covers that up. Lines will change for the selects. You got Hinton, Shuley, and O'Connor for the forwards, and Garretson and Opic as the defenders. Hinton taking the face off, wins it, comes to the Detroit player. Oh, collision there with Garretson in the forward. Comes free to Shuley. Shuley has in some space, has four defenders on her, moves it in front on the opposite side. O'Connor going after it. Detroit hits it up off of the glass, but not out. Beatty does a good job, shoots it, and just deflects wide. O'Connor and Shuley. O'Connor throws it in front to Opic. Opic has it, pushes it off to Hinton. Hinton wheeling and dealing with two defenders on her. Throws it up to the point and just beyond the reach of Opic as she regroups and settles and throws it back up to O'Connor. Makes one move, two, gets tripped up. No call.
That's obvious.
That looked like an obvious call there. And now they're going to call. And there's some, as you can hear the fans here saying how the one trip on O'Connor was not called, but the other trip looked very similar, and they called it on the selects. And that's going to set up a power play for Detroit for 1:30. And for the penalty kill, it's going to be Schultz, Beatty, Shuley, and Hempel. Still 0-0, 13:34 in the second period. Face off to the left. A little discussion here with the refs. And they're saying it's going to be on the outside zone of the selects, which is good. Gives them away from the goalie. Shuley wins it up to a Detroit player as they regroup. Collision on Shuley, but no call, and play continues on. Detroit moving around, goes through one player, gets in the zone, right to center, shoots it up off high. Shuley putting the pressure on that forward that shot it, and covered up, bounced in front to Coulter and covered up nicely by Coulter, stopping the play. Shuley there directing traffic for the penalty kill. Another battle won by Shuley, and swung on the other side. Hempel has it, does it nicely and chases after it, pushes it forward as it goes all the way to the goaltender, and that's going to be a great job stopping the play in the select zone as Shuley puts pressure on that slow-moving puck to the goaltender where she had to cover it up. Face-off will be to the right of the Detroit goaltender. Warner taking the face-off, nicely won by Warner. Garrison sends it down to the corner. Wiley tries to pick it up, bounces off of her stick. She has two defenders on her. Warner looking to chip in and breaks free to the Detroit player as they move forward. They take it and move it just up ahead into the corner. Warner going after it with Detroit player. She comes up with it, passes one forward. She has some room here. She can carry it up and kill some time. 33 seconds left of the penalty to select. She does a nice job bringing it all the way down. Has two defenders on her. Still killing time. 22 seconds left of the penalty. And kept it nicely by Garrison. Warner comes free. Back to Garrison. Garrison has it. Takes it down. 11 seconds. Down behind the net to Detroit. And they come free. Careful here as they try to come to center. Met up by Garrison. Nicely breaks that up. Barber takes it up. Penalty's over. even strength, and that's going to be offsides on Detroit. Well, Selects did a great job of maybe keeping 2 shots on Coulter, keeping the puck to the outside, and having no shots coming down low. Face-off will be at center ice. 11:59 in the second period, still 0-0. Shuley is taking the face-off with Hinton, Moss, Soltrick, and Schultz. A lot of speed right now with this line. And Detroit looking to battle. Oh, nicely broken up by Shuley, but it bounces free into center. Picked up by Detroit as they push it to open ice. Met up by Beatty. Beatty backhands it all the way on the other side to Shuley. Collision down there by the Detroit player on Shuley. Still free. Comes to a Detroit player as they try to shoot it. Soltrick nicely breaks that up. Shuley comes free with it. Open space to Hinton just beyond her reach. And Hinton chasing after it. Detroit tries to throw it up front. Hits the top board. Beatty, who's that? Beatty has it, shoots it, and just went wide. Shuley again along the boards in front. Bounces to 2 sticks right to Beatty's. Glove hand save. Still working free. Selects picking up some steam with the sticks and their skates. Detroit switching as they dump the puck. Schultz comes up with it, has some time, and unfortunately throws it right to a Detroit player, and thankfully it was behind the blue line, making it offsides. That could have been bad, but thankfully that puck went just beyond the blue line outside of the select zone, so the faceoff will be outside of the select zone. On the ice is Barber, Hempel, Opic, O'Connor. Can't make out who the center line is. Oh, that's Wiley. Wiley will be taking the face-off. For a moment there, it looked like there were 2 16s, but she's 76. Wiley takes the face-off. Detroit wins it, dumps it down to select zone. Barber picks it up, backhands it all the way on the other side. Greeted by a Detroit player, shot on goal. Had nicely saved by Coulter. They throw it in front, picked up by Wiley. Just couldn't handle it beyond her reach. And broken up by Hempel. 2, that's still trying to gain control. Detroit comes up with it in the select zone. Still loose. O'Connor has it, pushes it up forward to Hempel, but just beyond her reach, and this is going to be icing. As it was just behind the red line. Lines will change for the selects. Schultz and Beatty as defenders. We got Moss, Sheldon, and Warner as your frontmen. 9:28 in the second period. Warner taking a face-off. Won by Warner. Warner's been doing a great job today, coming up with the pucks, controlling it, looking, keeping her head up. She has defenders in front of her, brings it into the Detroit zone. Moss tries to battle for it in between her skates, breaks free. Detroit comes up with it, pushes it along the head. Schultz hits it up off the boards. Still battling, and back into select zone. Puck bouncing in front. Sheldon pushes it up, backhands it, and it's not going to be icing. It's got waved off. Moss going after it. Warner along the boards. Warner, again, she's been all over it. Backhands it, throws it in front, no one there. And Sheldon puts her stick down and stops it, but it bounces up to point, and Detroit pushes it. And icing is also waved off as Schultz battles for it, comes down low. Sheldon picks it up off the board, backhands it to Moss, bouncing puck. She has 3 defenders, and that's going to go right to the goaltender, and the goaltender's going to cover that up and stop the play at 8:25 in the second period. Still 0-0 if you're just joining us. Again, the advantage, I believe, is leading towards the selects a little bit, as they've been having some opportunities and getting to the puck a little bit quicker. Hinton taking the face-off. Garrison and Opic Hinton shot it on goal, just went wide. Shuley picks it up, backhands it, battling the defender, comes to Garrison. Garrison picking it up at center, hits it off the boards, and down behind the boards it goes. Who's going to come up with it? Backhands it. Detroit tried to backhand it out, but couldn't. Still kept in, but lands right on the Detroit player. Careful here. They don't get back. It's going to be a 3-on-1. Gets behind Opic. Shot on goal. There was a rebound. And unfortunately, there was a shot on goal and bounced out of off the pads of Coulter, and unfortunately bounced right to a stick of the Detroit player and knocked it right in. Following the rebound, that'll make it 1-0. It's unfortunate because Selects were just picking up some steam, and you could just feel it that it was going to bounce in, but it ended up going the other way. Face off, Wiley takes it and squirts free to O'Connor. O'Connor enters the zone with Detroit, passes it in front, no, broken up by Detroit. Wiley chasing after it, throws it in front again, and down to the corner. Schultz has it, down to Wiley. Wiley backhands it, broken up by Detroit. Up to the point, Beatty swings it around, shot! Oh, off the block. I don't know if the goaltender didn't even see it. I think it hit off of her blocker and just went high. Still battling for it, still kept in the zone. Met up by Hempel. Hempel shot just off the pads. You can definitely see Steel City's not backing down. They're still battling. Unfortunately, Schultz had it taken off, and Schultz had the puck taken away from her. Shot on goal and a little collision into the Coulter's goaltending net there and dislodged it. No penalty on anyone here, so the face-off will be to the left of Coulter. Taking a face-off is Warner. Face-off won by Detroit at the point. Bouncing puck. Picked up by Beatty. Backhands it along the boards. Met up by Sheldon. Sheldon has some room. Carries it along. Palmsley sends it all the way down behind the ice. Moss chasing after it. Just beyond her reach. Met up by Warner. Warner's been all over the ice today. And Sheldon tries to handle it. Just beyond her reach. Comes up by Beatty. Beatty making one move. Two. Passes it. Deflects. Right to a Detroit player and right to Schultz's stick as she misses it as she tries to get it out of her zone. Passes it in front, bounces off a couple skates. Thankfully, it went wide. Sheldon backhands it down behind her net. And Schultz strongly hits it up off the boards and out. And Detroit looks to regroup. Detroit sends it back down in select zone. Schultz has some time, passes it up front to Sheldon. Sheldon backhands it. Moss didn't see it. And Detroit regrouping. They have room, giving her some space, makes one move, and Coulter sees it and stops the play at 5:59 in the second period. 1-0 Detroit as the shot came down to the right side, hit off the pads of Coulter, and came up with a rebound with the Detroit player and tapped it in. Face off to the left of Coulter. Solchuk takes the face off. Detroit wins it. Passes off the pads of Coulter. Coulter still battling, goes right in front. Ends up going on the other side of the rink, but comes right back into center. And still in the zone, bouncing around, collisions going down. Coming up with it is Solchuk. If she hurries up here, she can make it a 3-on-2. Coming up with some speed, Shuley on the right side, enters in the zone. Solchuk coming around, tries to wrap around, hits off the skate of the Detroit player, and going after it is Hinton. Hinton tries to backhand it behind the net, broken up by Detroit as they try to get it out. And coming up with it, they do, out to center. We have Hinton, Shuley, and Schultz with Barber and Garrison. Shot came to Coulter's glove, and she calmly stops that with 5:03 in the second period. 1-0 Detroit. There's still a lot of time left to get back into this. Detroit wins the faceoff up to the point, sends it down low, broken up by Selects, and Hempel comes free with it as she pushes it up ahead, carries it and gets it into the Detroit zone, battling for it, still strong. Wiley on the other side. As Hempel battling along the boards, has two defenders on her. Schultz pinches in and breaks free all the way back to select zone. O'Connor picking it up, carrying it behind her net, greeted by a Detroit forward, bounces free and right to the stick of Hempel. Hempel coming to space as she puts up that hand to block that defender, pushes it down low, going behind the net. Detroit player fans on it, still loose, and they flick it up and trying to take a heat out of their own zone, and they send it all the way down, and that's going to be icing. With a stoppage of play of 4:13 in the second period, still 1-0. Both lines are changing. The face-off will be to the right of the goaltender, Detroit. Out on the ice is Schultz, Hinton, Soltrick, Schuley, and Beatty. Hopefully they can... Hinton wins the face-off but goes to a Detroit player. And makes one move as Beatty takes a shot, gets it down to the boards, still back to her stick, pushes it down low. Soltrick covering her spot. Schultz all by herself, puts it open space. The Schuley bounces weird off the board, just beyond the reach. Hinton gets it, pushes it down low, battling along the boards into the Detroit zone. Nicely kept in by Soltrick, but bounced right back out the center. Detroit comes free with it, carrying into the select zone, off the skates of Beatty. And Beatty swings it hard all the way on the other side and bounces over the stick of the Detroit player as they have to go back and regroup. But they quickly send it down into select zones. Chasing after it is Schultz behind the net, sends it hard, met up by Schuley. Schuley has room, has two defenders. Hinton trailing, shot! Glove hand save by the goaltender. And now we'll stop the play in the Detroit zone with 3:14 in the second period. The good news is that Selects have not been backing down. They've been still playing with some fight, so hopefully this will pay off as they can get a goal in here. That'll definitely light up the room. Warner with the face-off wins it. Back chases after the puck along the boards. Barker chasing down low. Pinched in by Detroit players. Moss goes in to help. Sheldon goes in to help. Madeline trying to break it free. And who's going to get it? Sheldon kicks it down low. Pushes it down behind the net. Warner meets up with her. Moss on the other side. Backhands it, turns it over to her forehand, but couldn't control it. Still Barber keeping it down low, right to the stick of Warner. Warner waiting because Sheldon was offsides and gets the puck in. Warner's been all over the ice today, and that's great to see as she carries it in the zone, holds it, looking to take a shot, blocked. Was trying to kept in by Barber, but having to regroup. Right back to Sheldon. Sheldon moves it backhand to forehand and gets it down in the Detroit zone. Still has it. Moss chasing after it. Moss has Warner in front if she hurries up. Off the goaltender. Shot. You got 3 6 players there, but nobody in front. And right to the glove of Detroit player. As a Detroit player falls down looking for a penalty, the ref says no, there isn't any. And stops the play. 2:10 in the second period. You could just sense it. You could just sense that just gonna punch one in here shortly. Wiley taking the face off. Detroit wins it. Battling with the face off area. Bartley comes up with it to Wiley. Wiley tries to control it, but Detroit picks that up. Swings it on the other side and out the center. Careful here. Barber falls down, but gets right back up. Detroit tries to capitalize on that, but overskates it, pushes it behind the net, and swings on the other side to Hempel as she back checks and tries to get it out, and does, right up to O'Connor at center. She does a nice job, pushes it off to the sideline, and right to Wiley. If they hurry, like a little nice connection that was going on there. Wiley's battling on the boards. O'Connor, who's going to be in front. Hempel still has it on the backhand. Pushes it off to the side, and Detroit comes up with it. And and making one move, gets past, but thankfully Beatty gets a stick on it and pushes it wide, preventing the Detroit player to get a shot off. Pushes it in front. Beatty does a nice job breaking that. Back bounces free, but not out. Hits off of Beatty's stick. She's been all over the ice in front. Just missed by a Detroit player. And come up with it is Hempel. Hempel has some room. Tries to make one move, but broken up by Detroit. Wiley pitches in. And that's going to send it back down. Is this going to be icing? It is. And that was a good time of it because since the line was starting to get a little tired for the Selects. 45 seconds left of the second period. Both lines are changing. Schultz and Beatty at the defensive side, and Soltrick taking the face-off with Schuley and Hinton. Soltrick wins the face-off, goes to Schuley. Schuley backhands it to Schultz. Schultz, high shot! Oh, hits the glove. The goalie did not see that. Just puts her glove up and just got a glove on that, and it goes wide. Hinton battling it down. 33 seconds. And Garrison Soltrick pinches in. Still battling down low in the Detroit zone. Comes free. Detroit tries to get it out. Beatty does a great job. Hinton has it. Might take a shot. Tries to get it off. Fans on it. And sends it all the way out to center. 11 seconds left. And this is going to be icing. With 7.9 seconds left. Oh, that goaltender did not see that puck and just put that glove up from Schultz's shot at the point. And was able to deflect that shot off wide. Moss taking the face-off with Beatty, Schultz as defenders with Warner and O'Connor and Sheldon. Goalie's off, 6 players on. Schultz has it, shot, deflect off the pads and pushes it off to the corner, and that's going to end the period. That's great momentum carrying into the third period if they can keep that up. They definitely got a shot off. But yeah, if they keep that momentum up into the third, I think they'll have a shot of punching one in and at least tying the game. That ends the second period. Still 1-0. And it looks like they're going to cut the ice here, so you guys all have time to refresh a cup of coffee and get your cereal or whatever it is that you want to take care of. And we'll meet back here in the next 10 minutes. Okay, welcome back, folks. We are going to start the third period with a reset clock of 15 minutes. There's a nice carryover from that second period where they were battling. The selects were battling down in the Detroit zone and got the shot off. What's going on? You want to say anything to the crowd? We got a little support here from the major team for the minor team. A little collection of thoughts over here before we start the game. Surely directing traffic, shaking people's heads and trying to get them involved as this third period starts. Getting pumped up and motivated. On the ice is Honeybake, Shuley, Soltrick, Hinton. Soltrick taking the face off. Hinton coming, takes it beyond the red line and shoots it down below. Met up with Shuley, battling, gets it behind the defender, has it still. Defender drops down, looks to pass in front. Soltrick misses it, backhands it to Hinton, hits off the pads. And Soltrick chasing after. Shuley standing in front of the net. Soltrick battling. Defender gets to it, pushes it over on the other side, and up the center. Greeted by Beatty. Beatty pushes it off to Shuley. Shuley backhands it. Lines are switching. Shuley is chasing after her own puck. Try to keep it down in the Detroit zone. And causes a turnover. O'Connor tries to come up with it. Up to Honeybake. Honeybake pushes it down low. Shuley's off the ice. And on comes is Hempel, O'Connor, and Wiley. Honeybake had the puck and bumped up by a Detroit player. And back out the center. Detroit carries it up the center. Met up by Beatty. Beatty's been another one tonight that has been strong and on the ice, all over on the ice. Hempel going strong behind the net. Carries that puck, looking for someone to pass to, and goes all the way. Tries to give it up to the point, and it went in between them, and Beatty chasing hard after it. Detroit strongly on her back. Hits off the toe of Schultz and up into the netting and out. That'll stop the play at 13:08 in the third period. Face off to the right, Halter in her zone. And Wiley taking the face off. Drops it back to Schultz. Schultz swings it. Hits the boards and settles in the corner there. Detroit has it behind the net, looking for someone to pass to. Passes it out to the wing, down low, circling, still has it, no pressure. Gets it back to the behind the net, in front. The Detroit player takes a stride, tries to get it off her forehand, does, but not on her backhand, and goes up to the point. Point shoots it and does it all the way in the corner. Beatty going hard after it, up in the air. Collected by Detroit, shoots it across the other side of the rink. Schultz battling for it. Wiley gets beyond Wiley. Detroit takes a shot. Coulter makes a shoulder save. But not out. And it does come out. Battle along the boards. Comes up by Beatty. Just Hempel didn't see it and goes beyond her reach, but it does nicely to push it back in Detroit's zone. Detroit goes behind her net, overskates it, but grabs the puck. Warner comes up on the ice. Bounces to center. Beatty looking to control it. Waiting for Warner to get onside. Does. Has some room. They're changing. Takes a shot. She dumps it. And back behind the boards comes into O'Connor. O'Connor's shot off the pad, and I thought that went in there. Did it go in? It went in. It did. I was just going to just going to say that shot looked like it went in behind the goalie. And O'Connor takes that shot. That was dumped in. That was backed in. That was dumped in by Beatty at the point. And O'Connor went in there behind the net. Carries it around and backhands it into the goaltender. And puts it in. Makes it 1-0. I knew it. You just had that feeling, that sense that they were going to put one in, and they finally do. They tie the game with 11:52. Warner on the ice comes free. She has it. And that's going to be offside. That's something nice that the Selects needed. They needed that extra spark of confidence that they can beat this Detroit team. Warner wins the faceoff, goes to Moss, just beyond her reach. Kept in by Garrison. Garrison battling. Detroit player comes in wide, shoots it, goes rink wide pass. Detroit picks it up behind the net. Just be careful here. Even though you scored it, Detroit's still putting on the pressure. And out the center it goes. Picked up by Garrison. Garrison has a defender, has a forward on her, pushes it up the center. Carries it into the Select zone. Mishandled by Detroit. Comes right to their stick. Goes wide. And just went wide. Thankfully, it didn't deflect on anything, or it went behind Coulter's pass, behind her. Garrison has it behind Coulter and swings it all the way around, just beyond the reach of Sheldon. Kept in nicely by Detroit. Throws it in front. Moss battling in the corners. Right to the point. They kept it in. Man in front. Tries to deflect it. And calmly, Coulter has it at her pads. Positioned nicely. Stopping the play at 10:48 in the third period, 1-1. On the ice again is Scholey, Soltrick, Beatty, and Hinton with Schultz. And Soltrick taking the face-off. Won by Detroit. Scholey comes up and takes it off of him, pushes it up the center, and dumped back into Detroit. And behind the net is Schultz, comes all the way on the other side, picked up by Detroit. Beatty does a nice job with putting her body into there. They're looking for a penalty, but no penalty was called on Selects. Scholey passes it up to Hinton. Hinton has some room, backhands it down low. Scholey's going on the other side, meets up with it, looks it up. Looks behind the net is Soltrick, battling strong. Still battling is Hinton. Hinton tries to throw it at the point, and Beatty was not there. She pinched it on the other side, and it goes all the way down to the Select zone. Beatty chasing after it, hurrying, and up to the stick of Detroit player. Tries to shoot it, goes wide. Beatty comes up with it again off her stick. Shot on goal. Coulter nicely pushes that behind her net and comes up to the blue line to Scholey. Scholey has some room, carries it, tries to get back. One defender does, broken up by the other, and they calmly push it out to the other side. Scholey comes back and back checks, slows that play down. They dump it, and Detroit goes to change lines. Schultz staring it behind her net with some open space, up off the boards, meets up with O'Connor. Scholey's off the bench. O'Connor, Hempel, and Wiley on the ice. Just beyond the reach of Wiley. O'Connor bouncing puck at center. And picked up by Opik. Opik swings it all the way around, pushes it up front to Hempel. Hempel tries to get it out. Comes to Wiley. Wiley with some speed. Backhands it to the defender. Picked up at the point by Opik. Dumps it back in. Still battling along the boards. Comes free. Wiley takes a shot. Bouncing puck in front. And Barber does a nice job. Gets it in there. Throws it on the goal. No rebound. Who's there? Picked up by Detroit player. Opik shot high. Goes wide. You can see it. You can see the sense. You can feel the sense here that Selects may punch another one in if they keep up the momentum. Opik battle along the boards. Wiley comes in to help. Gets it. Tries to get it down low. Bounces free at center. Detroit comes in. Shot on goal. Covered up nicely by Coulter. Still free. No call. Opik pushes it out. And just beyond the blue line, thankfully. Comes right to the stick of O'Connor. O'Connor's been hot lately. Tries to drop it off. Comes right to Hempel, quick shot right to Wiley, to O'Connor's skates. She couldn't see it. Comes back to her stick, backhands it. Hempel battling along the boards, has two defenders, squirts free to Detroit. They're trying to get it out. Lines are changed. Moss comes in to help and tries to back check. And Detroit player went down looking for a penalty, but the referee said no, play on. Backhand to Warner, Sheldon to Warner. Warner coming along the boards, picks up that stick nicely, gets that defender Rowdy, gets the puck, looks to pass, and keeps it into the blue line. That's Schultz, who does a great job circling him back. Pushes it in front, comes right to the stick of Warner. Warner collided. Hopefully she's okay there. Looked like she did a split. And Detroit struggling to get it out. They selects to keep the pressure on, comes right back to the stick of Warner. Warner pushes it up to the point, tries to get it to Schultz, right back to Warner. Control of the puck right now is the Selects. Warner seems tired, pushes it down low, bouncing around. I think both teams need a break. Comes right to Schultz. Collision in front. She didn't see the Detroit player right in front. And Beatty gets it up to Moss. Moss stick hands it, pushes it into the corner, over by Soltrick. And Detroit comes up, hits it off the boards, gets behind Schultz. Careful here, trailing is another Detroit player in the center. Broken up by Schultz with that long reach. Bounces in front. Who's going to get it? And Coulter sees it and covers that up. Stop at a play at 6:07 in the third period. This has been a very exciting matchup. Two evenly matched teams, I believe. At least I see. Quickly dropped the face-off. Soltrick wins it. Chasing after her two Selects players. Schuley's coming up with a burst of steam. So is Hinton trying to catch that before it goes off icing. And that's going to send the play with 6 minutes flat. All the way down to the Selects zone. To the right of Coulter. Doing the face-off all over again is Soltrick. Soltrick wins the face-off. Battling for it. Goes over Schuley's stick. Comes to the left side with Opik, pushes it up ahead to Hinton. Hinton with some room, and Schuley tried to stay on side, but her speed just carried her forward and made it offsides. So lines will be changing. We have Opik and Gerritston with Wiley, Hempel, and O'Connor. 5:50 in the third period. 1-1 still. It's been a very exciting match. Hinton wins the face-off right to a Detroit player, but works free in the center, battling for it. And no high stick. Hempel comes up with it. Has the whole team around her. Tries to get it past him, but they take it up. And Detroit takes it. Swings it down as their defenders change. Net up with the puck is Garrison. Garrison has room. If she hurries up to O'Connor. O'Connor picks it up while off the pad of the goaltender. Wiley tries to get it, trying to keep it down low. O'Connor comes up with it. And up the center, off the back of O'Connor. Still looking for it. Shot high. Holder puts that ball up and grabs it. And stops that play at 5:05 in the third period. There's only been one penalty, and that was a tripping penalty. On Selects, Warner taking the face-off. Wins it, pushes it up off the boards. Sheldon chases after, puts pressure, beats up the stick with Moss. And down in the corner it goes. Detroit can't handle it. Selects are doing a great job putting pressure. It comes to Moss's stick. Shot! Scores! Moss takes a quick wrist shot and puts it in between the pads. And through the pads, that is, of the goaltender, making it 2-1 with 4:44 in the third period. This is great to see. The momentum has just shifted, and hopefully they can keep it up to the very end. Still on the ice is Moss, Sheldon, Warner, Beatty, and Schultz. That play worked all the way down low in the select zone from Warner's faceoff, pushing it up off the boards. And battle behind the corner and push behind the net. Careful here. Detroit tries to make one move, goes to the point. Shot, deflects. Moss comes up with it. Slowing it down, looking what she sees, up to Sheldon. Sheldon tries to handle it into the zone. Schultz comes in, pinches in, and pushes it down into Detroit zone, but battle along the boards over the blue line. Pushed nicely down into Detroit zone, trying to kill that time with just 4 minutes left of the game. Battle along the board, squirts free to Sheldon. Sheldon takes a hit to the chest. No call by the ref. And off Warner's stick. Schultz trying to keep it with that long reach. Does. There she is, has some room. Schultz comes to the forehand shot. Quickly, the goaltender makes the pad save. Schultz almost had that goal there. She knew what she was doing. And the puck still battling. Comes all the way down to select zone. Beatty has it. Gets tripped up. Goes to Moss. Moss tries to backhand it. 3:19 in the third period. 2-1 if you're just joining us. 2-1 selects. Sholey coming in, get behind her. Detroit, they're giving her some room. Don't want to do that. Oh, Beatty just gets that elbow with that shoulder right into the head of that forward. They're gonna probably call that boarding on Beatty, which is not what you want to see here late in the third period. That's gonna put the selects on a penalty kill. So we got Soltrick out there with Garrison, Hinton, and Moss. Shot. I'm sorry, that's Barber. Hinton comes up with it. Looks to get it out, and does, all the way out the center. 2:25 in the third period. Hinton does a great job putting pressure on the forward, preventing them from getting into the zone. Detroit finally gets into the zone. Collision. There on the side, pushes it in front, backhands it, just wide of Coulter. And Soltrick does a nice job. Sends it all the way down with 56 seconds left of the penalty. 2:20 left into the third. Barber putting pressure down, gets an elbow to the face, no call. Bounces to center. Garrison does a great job, punches that all the way down in the corner. 42 seconds left of the penalty to Beatty. And turned over by Hempel. I'm sorry, by the Detroit player. Went to Hempel's stick. And Detroit, the referee is waving the icing off. 23 seconds. Has plenty of time as they come up. Barber sends it up to Hempel. Hempel tries to grab a hold of it just beyond her reach. And battling still. Surely battling. Does a nice job keeping Detroit off the blue line. Careful here. Detroit player knocks the stick out of Shuley's hand. No call. Barber battling along the boards. As time runs out on the power play, even strength. Coulter sees that from the point nicely and covers that up, stopping the play at 1:26 in the third period. Still 2-1 selects. Selects, if they can hold it off here, this will be a nice win for them. And they're pulling the goalie, so this is going to be a 6-on-5 for Detroit. Detroit wins the face-off. They send it down low. Everybody's got to be on alert here. Still down low. Throws it in front off the stick of Coulter. Up to the point. Thought there was a whistle, but that was a scream. Still loose. Battling along the boards. Detroit comes in, tries to backhand it. Nicely broken up by O'Connor. O'Connor still battling along the boards. Comes to Beatty's stick. Here it comes to Hempel in the center. 2-on-1. Takes a shot. Oh, and it just goes wide to the open net. O'Connor looks to pass in front. Picked up by Detroit. And they send it all the way down. And it's going to meet up to Coulter. Coulter is going to see it and says, I'll cover that up nicely with 40 seconds left of the third period. What an exciting game it is here today. On the ice is Warner, Moss, Beatty, Schultz. Face-off won by Detroit. Shot. Glove nicely by Coulter. 38 seconds left of the third period. If you're just tuning in, 2-1 selects Hinton at the face-off. Drops it. Hinton tries to get to it. Blocks it nicely in front. Shot off the skate of Coulter. 31 seconds left. Careful here. Detroit trying to look to get it in front of the net. Thankfully, nobody was there. Bounces right to the point. They push it back in. Broken up nicely by Beatty. Beatty hard into the boards. Warner there as well. Warner putting the body on. Goes over the stick of the Detroit player that was in front. Schultz pushing that off. Does a nice job with her skate position. Still loose. 6 seconds left off the pad. And that's going to do it. With 1 second left, Schultz has it and shoots it, and that's going to end the game. What a great win by the Selects today, making it 2-1 over Detroit. This is very exciting for them to get a first win in the tournament. Everybody played their part. A lot of back checking, a lot of shots on goal, using the points, keeping the puck out wide when it's down in their own zone. It was good to see. And capitalizing on the turnovers from Detroit. The second goal was scored by Wiley from Beatty. And I can't remember who scored the first one.
How's the tripod after I see the lights? Now you're not like a drunk giraffe. Yeah, you just throw that away. That's not important.
I'm sorry, it was Alyssa that scored the first goal and O'Connor scoring the second. All right, well, thanks, everyone. We'll catch you in the next game later this afternoon, and hopefully everyone has a safe and happy time for today.